If you've just inherited a home, or if you're about to, you may be thinking that inheriting a home could be a bittersweet but manageable process. What many people are surprised to learn is that it's not just a home. It's filled with memories, emotions, and if it's a home that you grew up in, it may even connect you with the person who you used to be when you were younger. On top of that, you may have pressure from family, legal responsibilities, or new financial responsibilities when handling the estate of a loved one. To say that it's overwhelming minimizes the reality of the situation for a lot of people. You may find yourself asking why this is so hard, why it has to be so challenging. You may even ask yourself why there's so much noise around you, the other people spreading their influence, and you have to hear that all the time. And it's not always helpful, no matter how much those people around you are trying to support you. I often hear clients mention that they thought inheriting a home or dealing with a property that a loved one left to them would be an easy to manage process. And then they find out it's one of the hardest things that they've ever had to deal with. There are a few simple tricks that you can use to make this process easier. So let's take a quick look at what they are. The first thing that I would encourage you to do is to understand that real estate and the emotions, especially when it's a home that you've inherited, are so closely intertwined. Like I said earlier, the person who you were when you were a kid, if it was the home that you grew up in, those times with your best friends, not just the time with the loved one that you lost, but so many of your firsts in your life happened at that home. And a lot of those can come flooding back to you. The first time you had heartache, the first time you had love, the first time that you had any challenges, the times that you were awkward and getting to know yourself and becoming comfortable in your own skin, can all come flooding back to you, as surprising as that may be. Many people are shocked when they figure out that that home wasn't just a place that their parents lived or their loved one lived. It was actually a vessel for all of those emotions, memories, triumphs, and regrets. One of the most challenging things about grief when it comes to dealing with the home that you inherited is it fogs your memory and your thinking process. It makes it harder to make decisions. And feeling confident in the decisions that you're making could feel completely impossible at times. But it's important to understand that that's right where you should be. And if you understand the situation and know what your options are and what you're up against, you can clearly understand if you have time and you can just go mellow with it and resolve it at your own pace, or if you actually need to speed it up. Understanding that first will help you, and most of the time, most people just have the time to just take a step back, check in with themselves, and start dealing with some of that grieving before doing anything else. One of my biggest surprises when I lost my parents was that grief isn't an overnight thing. It's not instantaneous. It evolves. It's not a linear process. You don't go through the 5 stages in order and then you're done. It keeps happening, and you peel off a layer of what you're going through and you get to the next layer and you go through it again. Also keep in mind that financial pressure makes dealing with the inherited home even worse. If you have bills to pay, mortgages, taxes to deal with, and all of these things coming up, makes it feel like you're pressured to make a decision. One of the best things to do is to communicate with the people that you have financial pressures from. If it's with the house, if there's a mortgage, communicate with the bank and they can help you understand what they're willing to do and work with you on. Now, if you add in other family members to the mix, it's easy to bring in fear, misunderstanding, miscommunication, and even slip into family feuds that muddy the clarity of the decisions that you're trying to make. While other people have their opinions and are entitled to them, it's important for everyone to get on the same page and understand what the plan is going forward. If everyone's on the same page for the plan, even if they're not helping you out with getting there, but they understand what you need to do and why you're doing that, that should at least minimize some of the family disputes. And with that, a great thing to keep in mind when it comes to family is that most people in families are from far different socioeconomic backgrounds. Even siblings can have great disparities in the amounts that they earn each year. You may have one expectation of what needs to happen. Someone else may have something going on that they don't want to share with you, that's impacting their decisions and their influence. And if that's happening to you, it's very important to be honest and clear with yourself about that. Be aware that if you're not honest and clear about that, just like another family member who has a financial issue that they really need a resolution. Keep in mind that if a family member has a financial issue that they feel they need to find resolution to, and this inherited home is the only solution for them, they may start pushing you to find a resolution more quickly and to put the home up for sale. If this is you and you're in charge of it, and you feel like there's a lot of financial hardships and you need to get this home sold just so that you can resolve those, take a step back and understand that that's a lens that you're looking through this situation with. Understanding your situation is key, because the more you understand about your situation and the options you have, you'll better understand if it makes more sense to sell the home as is, if you need to make some improvements, if you're renting the home, or if it even makes sense to start to rent it. Like I've said in other content, some people may have ideas when it comes into family members getting together, and some may decide that they want to rent the home, but they often forget that they don't like each other, or they don't always agree on something. I mean, I'm sure we all know family members that we don't always agree with. And when you decide to start renting a home that you inherit with other people, you're running into a space where you automatically get into business with them. And that can make it even more challenging. Oftentimes, with the people that I have spoken to, when it comes to a home or their legacy that they're leaving behind, what they want most is for everyone to be taken care of. Most aren't worried about what happens to the home. Most aren't worried about how their money's spent. They're more concerned with family members staying together and people being able to take care of themselves. Just keep in mind, as easy as it can be for some people to think about either the emotional aspect of inheriting a home or the financial aspect, it's something that no one prepares you for. And no matter what side you're on, if it's the emotional side that you're good with or the financial side that you're good with, it's both of them that come together, and that's what makes inheriting a home so challenging. And if you're handling an estate, you may feel like no matter what you do, you're letting someone down. If you're one of the beneficiaries, it's common to feel like no one understands you, no one's listening to you, and you may have quite a few sleepless nights. You may have some wacky dreams, and you may even have some anxiety. The good news is that's all part of the process, even though it doesn't feel fun in the moment. Keep in mind that sleepless nights and strained relationships are pretty normal for what's going on. It's not just about keeping that in mind, it's about understanding how you are when you have less than ideal sleep. Are you someone that needs more time? Or are you grumpy or short with people when you don't get enough sleep? Do you need to just be mellow when that happens? Or are you really quick to make decisions that maybe you're not the most proud of? Understand too that during this time, family members can argue and they can even distance themselves. It's important to check in with each other to make sure that that distance isn't a more serious issue. And it's also important to honor you if you're that one that feels like you need some space, and be clear with yourself. Just as it's important to be conscious of your needs when you haven't had enough sleep or when you're feeling really stressed out, it's important to understand your needs and the needs of the other people that are going through this with you. No one knows what that relationship was with the loved one, meaning that my other family members don't know what my relationship was with my parents when they weren't around. The relationship I had with my grandparents is completely different than the relationship my cousins had with my grandparents. And it's so easy to forget that because we're just looking through the relationship with the lens of our own eyes. We only know what we're aware of. We only know the conversations that we had with those people. We don't know about the conversations that the other people had with our loved one that passed away when we weren't around. So 4 steps when you're going through this would be to set the emotional distance before you make any major decisions. Now, when I say that, I'm willing to bet that you may be thinking that I'm just talking about with your family members. I'm also talking about yourself. Any major decisions. Keep in mind that you're going through grief right now. You're going to have times where you feel angry, where you feel sad, where you feel like nothing is real at all. And when you're in those states and they're pulling on you in a strong way, it's not the most ideal to make decisions. So give yourself the grace and give yourself the space. And if you're working at the home that you've inherited, trying to get it ready for whatever you decide the next step is, and you feel overwhelmed and stressed out, take a walk, get out of there, get that reset, and give yourself the distance that way. It doesn't mean that I'm telling you to take a week off from whatever you're doing regarding that. Sometimes just a quick 5 or 20-minute reset is all that you need. Number 2, break down what you have to do in small, clear, and concise steps. Get clear on what you want without the influence of others' expectations. Once you're clear on what you want, you can have that goal and you can have that vision for what you're going to do moving forward. When I inherited a home, the home that I inherited had a lot of heavy memories in it. So what I really wanted next was stability. But what I found that I wanted after I got that stability was something quite different. So instead of trying to break down the whole giant next few stages of your life, break it down into manageable steps. If you need a checklist, we can totally help you with that. And we have free ones. Just shoot me an email and ask for it. I can be emailed at sellitscott@kw.com. These lists will help you with priorities of what you need to do so you can make sure that nothing's left behind. And you can see a log of what your actions are. So when you have those days that it feels like you got nowhere or you got nothing done, you can actually look at it and remind yourself of how much you've actually accomplished. And it can help you become proud of yourself, because it's a huge undertaking and it's not easy. Number 3 is to seek outside guidance. Now, you need to be careful when you seek the outside guidance because you need to make sure that this person is neutral, a third party that's not related to the inherited property in any way whatsoever. You also need to make sure that the person understands what you want to happen out of this so that they can advise you in a way that leads you to that outcome that you desire. For example, if you go speak with a real estate agent or a financial advisor and you tell them that you want to use this home that you inherited to create some more financial freedom, and then they start talking to you about selling it, and that's the only thing they talk to you about, or talking to you about moving into it, and that's the only thing that they talk to you about, and you haven't been heard, be aware of that and seek other guidance. It's important to make sure that those people that you're trusting for advice understand where you want to go. And it's also important for you to understand if they're giving you that advice, but it looks like the path there or the how to do what you want is different than what you were thinking of, to at least be open to what they have to say. And number 4 is to set clear boundaries with your family. Now, this can be very hard. I know it was in my family, and just because you lost someone, it doesn't mean that things have to keep being done the way that they were before that person died. If someone's bugging you too much, you need to let them know that and be clear with them so that they understand the best ways to communicate with you. Also, be self-aware. If you understand that you're in a really bad mood that day and it's just not the right time to get back to you, then take a breather. You could even just tell them like, hey, I need a minute. I can't talk right now. Can I get back to you tomorrow? If you just leave it and say, hey, I can't talk to you right now, and then the next day comes along, hey, this isn't a good day, and then the next day comes along, can't talk to you, or you just ignore them, that's when problems happen. So don't just set the boundary, set the expectation, and live up to that expectation. It'll make things go a lot easier for you and everyone involved. Remember, this is your decision to make, and you deserve to make it with peace of mind. Inheriting a home isn't just a transaction. It's a deeply emotional process. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's normal, but you don't have to stay stuck. If you're dealing with this kind of stress and uncertainty, let's talk. Reach out today.